All right, Virginia Novello, writer, producer, actor. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. So happy
You
to be.
awesome. You just made your first feature?
I did, yes.
Wow. So you definitely have some great stuff to report and share about filmmaking best practices. And, first thing that comes to my mind is um, pre-production, production, post. Do you want to jump in on any one of those? Do you want to just start with pre-production? What are the most important things that you've learned that you can share with your peers?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Pre-production. Well, this movie, last time that I spoke with you, this movie was a short before, and it took us 7 years to actually get it to be able to shoot it. Um, and so in the pre-production stage, well, I have to say something very important. Right? Like it's three of us. The three of us wrote it. Marta Carras and Valeria Maldonado are also part of the team. And the three of us wrote it, and the three of us performed it. The three of us were the leads of it.
Wow.
So, in order to find a home, a production home, an investor that believed in the project as well as believed in us as the leads of the movie, that's why it took a long time because a lot of people wanted the project but wanted us out as writers, wanted us out as actors, just wanted us out. It just we knew that this was our baby and like that we were the leads of the movie and all of that. Through it all, we had an amazing team that we sort of started gathering. And so I guess my first advice is really surround yourself with people that believe in the project, that will go with you through the ups and the downs. And, it's obviously not their only project. They have other things going on. They're not counting on the project to make themselves, money or anything like that. But they do believe so to the point where they're introducing you to people, like pushing you to like all of this. And one of those people was Gonzalo Ruiz de Velasco. So he is an executive producer who believed in the movie from the beginning, and he just sort of put us in all through the way. And he's the one who introduced us to this house CM production company that we ended up producing the movie with. Another one was Denise Prieto, who was a friend of mine from high school. And she became a huge producer in Mexico City, and she became the line producer from like year 2 or 3. So she was also a person who constantly was explaining to us, right? Like the process and like the process in Mexico, how do you do this? And like we budgeted several times. And like she was like, this is how much it costs this in Mexico. Like, sort of like my second would be really be open to learning. A lot of filmmakers, the ego comes sort of in, and like we think that we know all of it, or we want to pretend that we know everything. And so I think one of the things is humble yourself and really surround your people that know more than you and be willing to learn from them. Independent filmmaking, even though there is a process, I do believe that you sort of try to get the things done the best way possible. So don't get stuck in your head with like, well, my friend did it this way, or I know somebody that did it this way. And so I'm going to follow every step of the way of this person. A part of the process is also going with the flow and figuring out how to sort of do it in a different maybe way, out of the box way, ways that other people that know more are recommending you to. Obviously trust your gut when it comes to that, but if they become part of your team, that like Denise and Gonzalo did for us, they're also our mentors and our guides, and they're sort of also helping us steer the ship when we don't know, when we're having meetings. They're the ones that are like, we go to them and we're like, what do you think based on your experience? What's happening? What do we do? What is this deal? What do we feel? Like they become part of the team. So surround yourself with people that know and that truly believe in the project, because they were with us for 7 years.
That's awesome advice. I think it's so often, people are so hungry just to get a project under their belts, get a project, build their resume, and they'll just take anything. And, inevitably, something challenging will arise with a short film. that is of, any kind of scale besides like, a director, a writer, and maybe, a DP and an actor or two. I mean, if it is at a certain scale and there's a, amount to produce, it's just going to be really challenging to corral all the pieces. So, I think it's super important. I think, it's so important to say what you said about staying open and kind of checking your ego and really, acknowledging that you don't know everything and there's a lot you don't know. And that's part of the reason that you're doing this, to learn and just to, keep that level of humility. It's so important because, it facilitates communication. When you have that ego, like you can't really communicate with people. So it's hard. I think for some people out there that, they have maybe a script or they want to write a script or they have maybe a desire to shoot something and they just don't have a network of people. And they're saying, okay, I mean, because you didn't have it easy. I mean, you built your network over 7 years, so that's really tried and true to your vision and project. I think if somebody were to ask, how do I build my network? How would you advise them?
Yeah, for us, I think when this project started, it was obviously three of us already, the three of us who, the writers and actors of it, we knew we were writing also from a perspective of each of the characters. And we knew we wanted to shoot this movie in Mexico because two of us are from Mexico. And it was going to be a Spanglish movie. Like we knew all of this from the get-go. So it's literally by doing it, like the short film. When we did the short film, we just wanted to make the short film. And that's when Gonzalo came to us and he was like, this needs to be a feature. He's the one who was like, this needs to be a feature. And so you have to have obviously a calling card, right? There's a lot of people that in this industry, they pitch so well themselves in the project, but then when people are like, show me what you got, they don't have anything, or they have very little, or they have a short that they did 20 years ago, or like, and so it's important to show people what you're capable of. And with the short film, it's not like it was a whole huge production at all. Actually, it was one location. It was just two actors, one location. That's about it. It was just that the heart of the story came through, and they saw that. And so they
Yeah.
were like, oh, this can be really great because of the heart of the story that came through the short. It was not that it was like perfectly shot. I mean, we had an amazing DP. We raised some funds, and like all of that did happen. But it's not, you'd be surprised. It's like one kitchen, like, two actors. It's just like about it. But it is important that the message came through, and the message did come through, and people were like, oh, I want to know more about these two sisters, right? We ended up making it three sisters at the end. But yeah, I think having a something that you can like prove yourself, because talk is cheap. I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
talk game. Everybody can say their project is the next big thing or da 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 da, and I'm like, okay, well, show it to me. Even if it's uh, uh, a script too. If you've been working on a script, like it has to sort of translate and get people to read it for you. Get feedback. Get a script doctor. Like again, it's also part of the humbling process that a lot of people are like, the way the script is the way it is, and it's just the way it is, and period. And we got a script doctor even a month before we started shooting.
Wow.
Even then,
The
we
short or the feature?
the feature.
The feature. Wow.
Because we were like, I'm sure, after 7 years of writing something, you sort of also lose perspective, and people need
Hmm.
to, you are
Hmm.
too close to the project.
Yeah.
You're attached to certain things. You are attached to certain scenes, and you have to be willing for somebody or many people to come in and go, okay, this is how I see it. They're not telling you to change something, they're just giving you their perspective. And we always say, if it's a repeated note more than once,
Yeah.
that is something you definitely have to look at. And we didn't take all the notes, but definitely notes that got repeated, we definitely took. Or the script doctor made us think of things that we didn't even thought about, of how we were representing women, of what the message is when you're representing a woman in a certain way. Like these things that over the years we sort of didn't got into, and that definitely helped us. So that, I think that's another. definitely advice of like, how do you gather your team? And we're still gathering our team now. It's really, really cool and interesting because we will show the people the movie and they were like, how can we help you? And like, they're the ones who jumping on the train, right? We're not like, hey, can you help me? Like, we're like, here's the work, watch it, tell us what you think. And they're like, who can I introduce you? And we have meetings. We have 3 meetings with huge distribution companies, not because we got them, because people that we showed this movie got for us. Like, so it's like you sort of recruiting people by showing them what the project is. And they're jumping on the bandwagon. And there are other distribution companies that we got through our business partners that they're like, yeah, it's great, but we don't know. And I'm like, no, I need somebody to be like so passionate about this, that loves it so much. Like the people that we showed that they're like, how can I help you? Like, and they're throwing their resources to us and setting up meetings for us because how much they love the movie. And that's the people that you want to recruit, right? It doesn't matter how much game they have, it's just how much they really truly believe in the project.
Yeah, that's a great focus, keeping on people that are really authentic and passionate about the work that you're doing. And, what you just said about having the proof of concept and starting small and building up from there and really showing, what it is you're capable of and, being willing to grow with what you're doing. Yeah, that's so critical. Now, once you're in on the set, right, and you're working with actors and you're working with the camera and the crew, what are some, life lessons that you've learned there?
Yes, yes. Oh, the set was amazing. I do have to say that. Like that was like the magical experience of it all. Part of it probably was because we were just able to be just actors because we had a whole team of people that were like, okay, do you focus on acting? And we just take care of everything. And it was the production company that ended up taking us in. It was their second movie. So it's not like, they knew a lot of big production. This is a hard movie to do because it's a road movie, so we're moving all the whole time. um and so that's definitely what was hard about it, right? It's like we're like a circus on the road for sure. And so people were not be able to go home for 4 weeks, and we all were living together with each other for 4 weeks, which was great. And also it's really hard to work with people and then live with the same people, it's really challenging. So it's like having trying to make them, I mean, the director was amazing and trying to make the days as short as possible. We really were going fast. But the reason being why we were going fast, once we got on the road, we had 2 weeks in a city in Guadalajara, and those days were a little longer, but it was the beginning. And I think once we got on the road, it was like everybody better be on their A game because we're only doing 2, 3 takes of each thing. Um, and the reason being too is like, well, lighting, we shot outside. 90% of the movie was shot outside, so you don't have a lot of, and lighting changes so much. So that was part of the thing. But the other thing was just like, we have very short amount of time, and let's not keep people working for like huge amount of hours so then they go to sleep with the same amount of people. They have some like really big downtime. And so we definitely had, I think 1.5 days off or 2 days off. And like it was great while we were there. I was able to just focus on the acting and just the magical of it all. But then once I found out, everything that went down, it was challenging. It was challenging for everybody because it was also calls at 4 in the morning, and freezing our asses off and just really sort of harsh conditions. So you really have to, a good thing is that you do become a family in that sense. I would say just literally treating every single one person with the respect that they deserve. The driver that is driving for like 14 hours a day, to like the grip, to the makeup, to the hair, like everybody, learn everybody's name, treat them like they're as important as the lead actor, treat them as they're as important because they are the huge part of it. If somebody in that falls apart, the whole thing falls apart. You have to understand that. I know we treat actors, and I was an actor in this, right, better than, but I was always like, we're eating, making sure that everybody knows our name, that making sure we're thanking everybody, making sure that they feel special because they are making our movie. And people get really sidetracked sometimes again with ego, and they're like, oh, this is the important person, and like this is and like they forget about the rest of the people. The rest of the people are hugely, hugely important, and please treat them like they are hugely, hugely important, because they are.
For
Learn,
sure.
and if you have a hard time with their names, then figure something out so you can tell them by their name. Your driver that drives you every day, the grip that is there, making sure you look amazing and the shot looks amazing, and not just your core people, but everybody. And I think that is also important to make the set feel like a flow. And I think that what we were all very comfortable, but that was part of it. We were not put on a pedestal of, also it's our movie, right? So we were just like incredibly thankful for it. But a lot of people were like, oh, you guys are so nice. They're not used to people being that nice. And we're like, oh my God, I mean, we get to be here every day. That also was part of it. Don't forget how grateful you are to actually get to the point where you are shooting your movie.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in the like minutia of the things. Literally get some time to get yourself into the perspective of like, not everybody gets to do this, and it's so hard to be able to get to this point. And if don't let it pass by you, don't let the experience get passed by you. Be so freaking grateful that you are in this position where there's 150 people working for your vision and for your project. And don't lose that perspective every day, even if you're exhausted, even if you've been working so many hours, even if you're tired, even if it's stressful, even like all the things that happens in filmmaking. Keep reminding yourself how grateful you are to be in the space where you can create something and have 150 people help you create that vision, and every single one of them is as special as the next one.
That's awesome. Yeah. That perspective and keeping it, through the experience helps, I think, keep you present in the moment, and what you're really doing and focused on what's important for sure. It's great that you had that experience. I guess I'd say, what are some things, when you're looking for, that really helps you as an actor when you're working with your director?
What are some things? I have to tell you this. We had 4 directors.
Wow.
I, not at the same time. No, 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 not at the same time.
Okay.
We had, through the course of the 7 years, we've had 4 directors.
I see.
And I'm going to tell you something that is a little bit woo woo out there, but I truly believe it after this process. Is that once you create the movie, I feel like, or write the movie or the project or whatever it is, the short film, the movie, the show, I believe that it has its own energy. It sort of has its own intelligence. I know I might sound a little
No,
nuts.
you're totally, hey, we're feeling you, definitely.
It has its own energy and it has its own intelligence. There were many, many, many times where we tried to pick for the movie. The movie would grab this person and accept it. This person would give something to the movie, and then it was like, for some reason or another, it didn't work out. And I started believing that that's like the movie was making these decisions, and we didn't try to control them, because I mean, we tried at the beginning. That's not true. We tried. It's like we tried to convince people. We were like, no, please, Dad, you were the perfect person. Looking back now, I realized that they gave something special to the movie, whether it was that feedback, whether it's introduction to something, whether there was a rehearsal of sorts, whether was there like a conversation about a certain part of the movie. And then that's all they needed to do for it. And we're so grateful for each one of
Yeah.
them. We had a director that she had to step away a month before we started shooting.
The feature, the short.
Feature.
Wow.
A month before.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, this movie's not happening. And also we had many maybes, to the point where I became like, okay. Like there were like when they were like, we're making your movie. I was like, great. I'll be excited when I'm on set, because like we've been through all of this so many times where people are like,
Yeah.
and then nothing happened. It's like maybe, and then like something went on, and like the pandemic hit, and like never mind, and things like that. And so I was like, I'm not even gonna get excited until actually I'm on set or signed a contract or do something. Because always something can always happen until you, even when you're on set, something can happen, right? And so when she had to step away, we were like, oh my God, oh my God. I mean, we interviewed 15 women directors because we wanted a female director. Um, when we picked her, we had interviewed 15 women. And so at this point, we were like, what do we do? And the production company suggested this amazing director. Her name is Mar Novo. And she had just done her short film and won a bunch of festivals with it. She won Toronto. She was like, she's just amazing. And she sat with down with us, and she was like, we literally had like a day, right? Because she had to jump in pre-production, and she's like, tell me your vision. Like, what's your vision? Like, let's go with it. Like, like, she had to get to work really serious because we had a month of, people had been doing pre-production, but she had a month of pre-production, which is nothing. And so we had also a month to get comfortable with her and to get to know her in a different way, and while she is like super busy also thinking about wardrobe and hair and makeup and and like all the rest of the stuff. So it was very like a shotgun kind of a thing. But then looking back, it's like she was the perfect director for this, because she gave that realness to it when it came to wardrobe and the shots that she was really focused on. The great thing about this is we've been working on these characters for 7 years, right? So when we did a table read with her, she's like, oh, like, I can see you guys got this. And I'm like, well, yeah, we've been working on these characters for 7 years. We know these people, right? We know these characters upside down. And so she was like, okay, so I'm going to focus on the rest of the stuff because you guys got this. And she had to, right? So she's very visual. She has amazing visual stuff, and she had to really focus on like finishing on time, like all this stuff. And what we did that was really, really awesome is also look out for each other as actors, of all the actors. I understand that the director is there to direct it, but also becoming a team with your peers is so important. So it's like, hey, you guys, I really need to run this scene. Can we just meet an hour before?
Mm-hmm.
And we started to really talking each day, like, what is our moment before? Because movies you shoot like,
Yeah.
and it happened to us at one point where I was like, oh my God, why did I enter this scene so excited when in the previous scene I'm like shocked? It's like, doesn't make sense. And
Mm-hmm.
like really be like, okay, what's our moment before? Where is your character at? Where's my character? Or where's my character at? So, like, so we started really talking a lot among us, and the people that would come on set for like the actors that would come on set for 2 or 3 days too. We started just like sort of talking through what is the purpose, what is the, like, just really quickly sort of being like, okay, can we run through the scene? The also good thing about being the writers is that we're like, this dialogue doesn't make change, let's change it.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of like change on the fly, like, what would you like to say, like this, that, and the other. And that now in post-production we're really seeing that and we were able to improvise several things. We wrote it so we can remember, right? And a lot of the great moments that we got were improvised, sort of like improvised sisters moments of like being sisters or talking about certain things that were not on the script, and we just sort of put at the end or started at the beginning to get us going. And we just thought it was just a great exercise to just do to get us going, and realize, wow, there's so much gold in those moments too, but it was really in the magic of like becoming a team with the peers as well, not only with the director, but becoming the team. It's like an
Yeah.
actor yourself, but you're playing with other people. And I feel like sometimes actors feel like, well, I need to make sure that I'm great and I got my lines and da 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 da. And I'm like, you are better if everybody around you is also awesome.
Yeah.
So we all are in charge of each other's, like, we are the keepers of our talent and also of our life, of our commitment. And so we created a team with every actor. Is like, can we run lines? Let's talk about this. Let's really, we're not on our own separate trailers. We're constantly in one trailer talking about it, figuring it out, talking. And I think that's really, really important. And
Yeah.
movie's energy. We had another actor that was attached to it, and we started already shooting, and he ended up falling off as well. And we had already started shooting. And this amazing, I don't know if you know Cristo Fernandez from Ted Lasso.
I don't.
He's amazing. He's from Mexico and he's in Ted Lasso. And he was in Guadalajara at the time, met him at the film festival, and he happened to have a break between Ted Lasso, and he joined our team and he became our male lead.
That's
Like
awesome.
a blue,
Yeah.
like nowhere. I'm like, oh, the movie speaking the lead, the movie speaking the director, the movie speaking a lot of stuff. I just sometimes have to get out of the way in order
Yeah.
for it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you're a caretaker or steward of this creative process, and it, communicates. So you got to listen. That's great that you had that experience. It sounds like a wonderful, wonderful experience. And now that you're in post, um, are you in the edit room? You
Yeah, post
are.
for me the most challenging thing.
Yeah. Why is
That
that?
this is for many reasons. For many reasons. So we are the actresses and the creators, and when we were when we were on set, we were just the actresses, right? And so we have to sort of have people be like, and then the director, she did her cut, and it was her cut, and it was great for her vision, but we sort of had a different kind of vision when it came to post. And her vision is amazing. That doesn't take off from it. It's just that part of like, yeah, but we had, sorry, oops, that we had falling apart. We just, we've been working on this project for so long. So we know the heart of the story. We know where it's at. And they send us her cut, and then they send us sort of like a montage that they did of like a 3-hour cut version.
Mm.
So this,
Mm-hmm.
they started working immediately on it. And so within like a month and a half, we have like those two cuts. And that was like very impressive. But at the same time, we were like, okay, great. Here are our notes. And they were like, on set, they were sort of speaking of like, oh, you guys are gonna love your movie. I cannot wait for you to see the premiere. And I'm just like, ooh, no. It's not gonna happen that way. I'm just like, no, you guys, like, it's not only in the contract, right, that we have a say, but this is our baby and we have a say. We love to collaborate. We love what people did. But also if somebody's giving us a vision, because you make the movie 3 times, they say, right? It's script, when you shoot, and when you put in, when you edit it. And you can make about, and I've seen about 3 versions of our movie. They're completely different, and I think they can even be completely different genres, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Like it can become
Wow.
dramatic, super, it can be like a really big drama, it can be a really high comedy, or it can be a dramedy, which is what we're shooting for. But I've seen versions of the movie that it's like a
Mm.
complete different genre.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you have to really pay attention of like, okay, like not because what is there is there, it's like you can manipulate what is there in a way that you get the tone.
Right.
And so for us, it was really important to get the dramedy tone, because the subject of it, if you just get a synopsis of it, it's heavy, but it has a lot of comedy to it. But comedy has a rhythm and has a pace. And if you lose that, then you don't get that. And it just becomes a very dramatic movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked with our producing partners in Mexico, and we were like, we got to sort of step in. It's great what they're doing. It's also hard because they were editing in Mexico, and so it was hard for us to really kind of communicate what exactly we wanted. And so we ended up going with a different editor, and an editor that actually, funny enough, he helped us with the first couple of drafts of the feature. His name is Yusuf De Lara, and he's a director. He won Sundance in 2012, and he's been directing a bunch, and he also became a humongous editor. And he's been in this journey again from the beginning, right? Because he helped us create the first couple of drafts of the movie. And so when we were like, we need some help, he's like, I love this project. So it's again like
It's
somebody that loves
awesome.
the project. And he was like, I will do it for like such a lower fee that he would usually charge us. And so we got to sat down with him. like at least 5 times, long days, right? He would edit certain parts and send it to us, and we would be like, okay, what do we think? One of the things that is important is that the three of us get a unified voice. Otherwise, you're getting three different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's, so it's like the three of us have to constantly sort of not agree, because sometimes, like the majority of the time, we really truly don't agree on everything. But the good thing that it's three of us, it's like, okay, two don't agree, one, like, one is
Yeah, yeah, majority rules.
or we can, usually we always try to reach a middle point. It's
Yeah,
like this, okay, like how can we, like if you truly hate it and you want to make your case, like how we can get sort of both sides, right? And editing is a lot of play, meaning like you have to try things
yeah,
and figure it out. Just a note that doesn't work in your head doesn't mean it's not going to work on the screen.
right.
And so one of the things that Yusuf would tell us, because we would gather with him for days, and like literally from 10 in the morning to like 1 in the morning. We did a couple of days like that where we were just sitting with him and we're like, okay. And he would say, we would give a note. And he's like, I don't think so. But his whole motto was like, okay, allow the note, right? Let's see where it goes. Let's see, like we can see, let's see it. And then when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, no, it didn't work. Like in my head it worked, but it doesn't work anymore. Or the opposite, when two are like, I really want this. And I'm just like, no, definitely no, I don't think. And then I see it and I'm like, actually, with the music and with this and that, it totally works.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
it's a lot to note, because now it's 4 people, right? It's the editor, the three of us, and then the director, so it's 5 people. And so we're just all having different experiences. And so it's like, allow the note. And the three of us always try to be like, okay, what do you think? Da, 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 da. And with Yusuf, we had worked with him before, so he knows our dynamic. And so it was really easy for him to sort of plot back in. That was what was hard about another editor that also was not here, is that he doesn't know us and how we worked. But he did. And so it became a very fast, easy process with him, where we were
that's
just like,
cool.
let's move in. And allowing the notes, that's part of my motto now, when I just have like a no. And I'm just like, okay, allow the note.
Yeah, yeah,
Allow it. Doesn't happen. That doesn't mean that it's going to stay. Just allow it to be, so
right.
you can see it.
Yep, see what happens.
Exactly.
It's a great mantra. Um, and I love what you said about it being play. It's so cool. Part of the fun thing about the edit is that you can put, different things in and take them out, and you're feeling it, creating it like music. And, it's allowing the note in that way as well. Virginia Novello, thank you so much for being on the show and giving us your experience and best practices. You shared a lot of wisdom with us, and we really appreciate it. It's really, really just beautiful to see, how far you've come and how dedicated you've been.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you giving me
yeah,
this
you're
space.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Great work. And we look forward to sharing it with everybody.
Can't wait.
Okay. All right. Till next time. All the
Bye.
best. Thank you. Bye.